Welcome, everybody. A Monday edition of the Phillies Fastball. Phil's coming off a series win over the Rockies. They fall in the final matchup against Colorado, 4-1 on Sunday. They do pick up the first two games. Kind of an uneven series, boys. Friday, the bats were out, 10 runs, 7 early to get it started. Not as much happening on Saturday, just a 2-1 win. We'll talk about how the pitching won them that game. And then yesterday, Taijuan Walker, 3 in the first, early deficit, feels lifeless offensively. Other than Friday, the offense was a question. I'm sure we'll dive into it again on today's edition of the Phillies Fastball. Oscar Budejen, Jeff Kerr, happy Monday, guys. Some thoughts on this. You know, you beat the Rockies. You expect to beat the Rockies, but what do we make of this 3-game set?
Go ahead, Jeff. You start and I'll follow.
I mean, first inning was fun on Friday. 7 runs. They just teed off on Michael Lorenzen, 9 in the first 3. And they're like, okay, maybe the offense is back. And really didn't do that much after that. I mean, I think it's kind of a concern when you score 2 runs on Saturday against a bad Colorado team and you struggle to score runs on Sunday. Now, look, I'm just going on Sunday's game. Kyle Schwarber hits a home run in maybe 28 of 30 major league ballparks. That one he hit with 2 men on base. Maybe we're thinking a little different on Sunday. I did like Adolis Garcia's opposite field home run. It felt like, the Phillies were close Sunday. They just weren't able to break through. But I was impressed with the pitching, especially Aaron Nola on Friday, Jesus Luzardo on Saturday. And look, Taijuan Walker, he is what he is at this point. They won the series, but I was like you, Oscar. I was kind of hoping for a sweep.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping for a sweep. Look, the reality is where this team is. We said on Friday, we left with a high note saying, look, you know what? We're going to Coors Field. All our remedies or slumping, hitting they're going to be over. And what happened? They scored 7 runs, and then they scored 6 runs the remaining, 27 innings in the entire series. I mean, it's disappointing. You had – They had a starter on Sunday. On Saturday. I mean, they had a bullpen day, and we scored 2 runs. Give me a break. Come on. I mean, and yesterday couldn't get the bats going. I mean, it's just inconsistent. The offense is not where it needs to be. Turner kind of woke up over the week. He looked much better, but Schwarber and Harper, I mean, they still. Either they hit a home run or they don't do anything. I mean, that's kind of the reality of how this season have gone. And Luzardo, we have to talk about Nola and Luzardo. Nola and Luzardo looked unbelievable. Look, I mentioned it. I expect big things from Nola this year. He's going to be a significant better version than last year. His ERA around 4, maybe slightly below 4. He's going to be the part, and Luzardo was incredible. No base on balls and 11 strikeouts. That was an exhibition of pitching on Saturday.
Yeah, guys. Well, you mentioned the offense. It got off to a 7-run start on Friday, led by Turner, 3 for 4, Schwarber with a hit, Harper 2 hits, Bohm had 2 hits, even Stott had 2 hits. So that top of the order, you could see how dangerous they can be when they're going. But I feel like a theme of this show on Phillies Fastball each and every day right here, we're going to be talking about, hey, can you shake up this offense? Is there something you can do? And does it stem from, the top of the order, the middle of the lineup? Basically, Saturday and Sunday, everybody, other than, as you mentioned, Jeff Garcia, went cold. And I think everybody is going to keep trying to find ways to infuse a little life in this offense, meaning do you stack these guys up a little different?
Look at the runners who is scoring. Just look at this, Jeff, for 1 second. Look at the runners who is scoring position. And when the first game, we go 5 for 10. We left 6 men on base, and then the last two games with 15, 1 for 15, and we're leaving 16 runners on base. Not acceptable.
Yeah, I agree. And we were talking about this on Phillies Weekly last night. Should changes be made to the lineup? But we talked about this on this show before. I don't think he's going to do it, but I would try Brandon Marsh 5th.
Yeah, Stott is really good against Hauser. He's 2 for 3 with a home run and 2 RBIs, so he's probably not going to do it today.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen tonight.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow against a lefty. Well, he won't play, so it'll be interesting
that seems like the first thing, right? Instead of making the top of the order crazy, bold move of maybe moving Schwarber or Harper or moving Turner, you keep those 4 and you just do something small first with a Marsh Stott flip there's also Garcia, Jeff, who you mentioned, maybe against lefties. Garcia hits in that 5-hole. But I would imagine if they keep scoring 1 run or 2 runs in games, they can't keep rolling out the same 9 every single day, which ironically, I was a little surprised that in the final game in Colorado that you didn't see maybe a Bohm day off or a Turner day off to get Sosa a little bit of play, or Dylan Moore hasn't started a game yet. So I was surprised that everybody but Marchand were regulars yesterday.
Yeah, and look, even with Marchand, he's a backup catcher. He is what he is, right? Do you think maybe the next time Taijuan Walker pitches, JT Realmuto catches him just to get him going?
Well, I'm hoping there's not a next time for Taijuan Walker.
Well, there's going to be a next time, like Gill. Zach Wheeler's getting 2 more starts.
I will say, I was going to say, you probably know about Wheeler's timeline more than I do, but yeah, I guess the Phillies are just hoping that if it's 2 more starts, that he doesn't get up 3 or 4 runs in that first inning and then can just kind of suck up some innings for them until they can hand this thing over to Wheeler.
You know what, Mike? It is funny. There is a way you can avoid Walker because of the off days, right? They got this Thursday off. They got next Thursday. So in theory, they could do that. But if you're trying to stretch Andrew Painter out, I don't know. There probably isn't an innings limit on him. I'd have to ask Rob Thompson myself if there's a plan for that. But, I mean, you theoretically could. I just don't think they're going to because Wheeler's going to pitch on Wednesday in Lehigh. Yeah. And if you go by the calendar, Lehigh always has Mondays off. That's a typical minor league thing. So it'll be Wednesday, then Tuesday. So after next Tuesday, we'll see. And then if it goes by regular rotation, then Zach Wheeler would start the next Sunday, which would be against the Braves, if he would come back. And
you make a good point, though, Jeff, is that you don't want – if you could push back Painter an extra time, that extends his – we'll see what he looks like tonight. Hey, everybody's brimming after the way he threw in the first game. The Phillies have not had great success in San Francisco. We'll see how he fares against the Giants, who have not been, they're not an offensive juggernaut by any stretch. But let's see how he follows up his debut tonight.
Oscar and I talked about this last night. The Phillies really stink in, I still call it Pac Bell Park. What is it now? Oracle Field?
Oracle Park. I have the numbers, guys. You will be horrified. But let's bring those numbers when we talk about kind of the series itself. But look, the reality here, the other big news is Kerkering. Kerkering pitched really, really well in rehab, and he's going to be activated either today or tomorrow. He's in San Francisco with the team, so they will make a decision with him today. It'll be interesting who they're bringing down, but that's an interesting topic to also touch base on.
And that will help out the bullpen. By the way, let's talk a little bit about that because on Saturday in a game where you got 11 strikeouts from Jesus Luzardo, you needed that bullpen still. Even though Luzardo was as dominant as we've seen him, you still need it. And that was, when you talk about a Phillies blueprint, guys, on a playoff win, that was the playoff blueprint right there. Starter gets into the 7th. Some combination of Alvarado, Keller, and get the ball to Duran. That's what you're looking. That's a playoff blueprint win for the Phillies on Saturday, even though you're hoping it's not against the Rockies that you need to hold and scratch and claw for a 2-1 win. But that's the way the Phillies want their bullpen to look, right?
That's a blueprint. No doubt about that one. I mean, Duran doing his thing. He's 3 for 3 in save opportunities. Keller with his big arm. I'm a little concerned. I have not seen more strikeouts, but they will come. I mean, it's still too early. He's only pitching 4 games. And Alvarado, look, if there is one word that I give Alvarado, he needs to get in shape. I mean, he needs to trim some things here and work very, very hard. He's working on a contract year. Huge strikeout, but his control has been concerning in the early going.
Yeah,
12 pitches, by the way, real quick, Jeff. 12 pitches on Saturday, only 5 strikes for Alvarado in that game. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention, too. The control's lacking, and I think that involves getting in shape. But, by the way, can I give a shout-out to Tim Mesa right now? Like, everything you've asked of this guy.
That's been your guy.
Yeah.
That's been your guy, Kerr.
Yeah, he threw another shutout inning on Sunday. Like, you're just – look, he's the guy that – and look, I'll say it. He's the guy I got wrong on my 26-man roster projection. I thought it was going to be Shugart. And And I said, look, I kind of like the idea of them bringing Mesa up and bringing a fourth lefty in here. And it's worked out well for it. It's worked out well enough that you're probably going to be sending Kyle Backus down.
Oscar, give us some background on why Luzardo so tough. I mean, 6 2/3, 99 pitches, 11 strikeouts, no walks. I mean, what makes this guy some people, he is the number 3 technically on this team, but we talked about that ESPN article last week that listed the 11 top-tier pitchers in the league, and he was one of those 11.
Look, Luzardo could lead the league easily in strikeouts. That is something to look for. Luzardo, when he came up to the majors, he came in with the Oakland A's at the time, the Oakland A's. He was the best pitching prospect in all of baseball. This guy has a tremendous arm, and now what they have done, Coughlin and the rest of the coaching staff, they have developed a couple of pitches. One is the sweeper. The sweeper is an elite pitch for him that makes him strike out a lot more hitters. And also he's working on improving his changeup. That also looks very filthy. This guy, he has a tremendous arm. Look, the Phillies made a decision. It was either Luzardo or Ranger Suarez, and they went with Luzardo. Luzardo has the big-time arm. If he remains healthy, he has had issues in the past remaining healthy. If he remains healthy, this guy is going to be one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. And don't be surprised if he wins the National League in the strikeouts.
You know what, Oscar? They went younger with more upside with Jesus Luzardo, and I had no issues with that.
That's true.
Well,
That's
and
true.
we listen, not to disparage on Ranger, one of the more popular pitchers during his time in Philadelphia. He hasn't exactly got off to a great start, and I think the Phillies were having to weigh. Do they want the younger? This is akin to years ago when the Sixers had to choose between Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler. They went with the young guy. That didn't work out so well. But the Phillies choosing Luzardo over Ranger, maybe it will work out. Ranger has not had a great start with the Red Sox, but we know Ranger, I think he pitched yesterday or Saturday.
He pitched yesterday. 4 innings, and he allowed, I think, 6 runs.
Yeah, so he has not been great out there for the Red Sox. A popular pitcher, but I think, guys, they made the right decision. By the way, he faced Walker Buehler in the game yesterday, who pitched 2 2/3, had 4 strikeouts and 3 walks, gave up 4 runs. Buehler's ERA 9.45 for the Padres. Ranger Suarez 8.64 for the Red Sox. So it looks like the Phillies, at least if they were deciding between Luzardo and Suarez, picked the right guy. I know, the interesting part is this offense has been the problem, but they're pitching after the first week of games, which was not where they wanted to be. It seems like it's hit its stride outside of Walker, and we'll see what Painter does tonight against the Giants. And as we look at the pitching so far, give me a number of guys that stands out, either good or bad. Oscar first.
We're number 1 in baseball on our starting pitching and strikeouts. I mean, that basically shows you and we're 8th in base on balls. So those are 2 major numbers. They're going to, as I told you, the most important stat here is the ERA or starting pitching. We're down to 18th. We were like 26 last week. So believe me, this is improving and improving fast. And if Wheeler comes back and we take Taiwan out, I mean, we're going to have probably the best starting pitching in all of baseball.
Jeff, you got a number on there, good or bad, that stands out?
Well, 2 things for me. I like how it's this early in the year and they're third in innings pitched amongst the starting pitchers. I think that's very impressive this early in the year, because this is when starters maybe go 4, 5 innings. You got guys going 6, right? You got Jesus Luzardo going deep in the games. You got Andrew Painter's even going deep in the games. That's a great sign for me. And look, the 4.1 ERA, that should be lower if you take out Taiwan Walker. That was Oscar's homework assignment for last night.
Yeah, Oscar, he told you to make sure you got the ERA without Taiwan Walker.
I will do it. I will do it tomorrow. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we got all week. I didn't make a due date for you, but even even the bullpen ERA, like once Ryan Kirkry gets in here, I think that's fun. And I'm glad Oscar mentioned, and Mike, Saturday night, right? You got what you expected out of that. Alvarado, Keller, Duran. That's the ideal scenario when you bump Bowen down. I always want to say Boylan. It's not Boylan. Bowen down. When you want to move him down, Tanner Banks, when he moves down, and Tanner Banks has been very good for them, by the way. This is a deep bullpen. That's going to even out at some point.
Well, and Backus, by the way,
don't forget Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola had a tremendous game on
Aaron
Friday.
Nola was awesome on Friday. It got overshadowed. I mean, but it's great though. When you come in before you even throw a ball, it's 7-0.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, as 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 but the bullpen did. Mesa, Banks, and Backus. Backus came in, struck out 2 hitters, threw 8 strikes out of 12 pitches. If Walker gives up 4 runs most games, you're hoping that the offense can keep you in that game. They just could not. 2 home runs, by the way, from former Philly #1 overall pick Mickey Moniak. By the way, those were moon shots, both of them that he hit yesterday. And
I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him.
He absolutely
what was it, Oscar? Was it 3 years ago, Oscar? He broke the bone in his hand. He was going to make this team.
He was going to make this team, and you never know what history. It could have been a different history here. I mean, particularly with our dynamics around the center field position. I mean, over the years, and I know he would have been more of a corner outfielder, but he definitely. I mean, look, he's a good guy. He gave his best in this organization, and look, you're seeing it in every sport, right? You let some of these guys just don't grow up fast enough. I mean, and you let them go, and then they go to another organization and they blossom. So that's the unfortunate reality of some of the things that you have to give up on some of these players too early.
I thought the COVID year really hurt him too. It hurt a lot of those kids, like him, Spencer Howard. They were like supposed to be the cornerstones.
Breaking that hand too. By the way, I broke that story, and it was the worst 3 hours of my life. I said I never want to break a story ever again.
Yeah. You never want to break stories because people don't believe you half the time.
Well, I broke the story, and it was after he got a MRI that said there was no break. But I had a source that definitively told me he broke his hand and he will be put on the injured list. So I went with it because I had 2 people tell me that, and people were coming after me because, the guys who were around the team every day had reported that his hand got an MRI and that no break was shown. And I said, "You're sure about this?" And then sure enough, like Jim Salisbury and a couple others did say and gave me credit for it. But I said, that was the worst 2 hours of my life, people coming after me, saying that I was an idiot. I didn't know what I was talking about. But I think Moniak, breaking your hand, that's a terrible injury to try. If you're a guy that tries to hit in the wrist, anything in the hand area is not good. But good, I agree with you. Let's look forward to tonight as the Phillies take on the San Francisco Giants. And this has been kind of a house of horrors, guys, for the Phillies. But Andrew Painter on the mound tonight. Hauser for the Giants. And Hauser, of course, a right-hander. So you'll probably see the regular lineup tonight. But a tough right-hander. Hauser's tough. This is a good pitching matchup tonight.
Yeah, it's a good pitching matchup. Let me just give you the numbers in San Francisco for the Phillies. I mean, this is horrific. There are 397 wins and 718 losses in history. Ooh. 397 and 718 losses. And
this is counting New York. This is counting New York too, right?
Yeah.
The New York Giants. So they've never been good against that.
But
Oracle Park, hold on. An Oracle Park in the last 29 games were 6-23.
I was going to say, that number there, I think, tells a story because the Phillies have been a good team over the last 30 games there, and yet they still haven't been able to play well out there. And this is a tough group of pitching. Hauser, Robbie Ray, a lefty, they'll see tomorrow. That's a good pitching matchup. Sanchez and Ray, who's been a Cy Young winner. And Sunday you're going to see Nola again, so you'll get, a lefty.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. I'm thinking it's the weekend already. I'm wishing it's the weekend already. But tonight, Painter, Sanchez, Nola, good pitching matchups with the Giants, who have struggled offensively. So this is an interesting matchup here, and hopefully you can turn that 6-23 over the last 29 into at least maybe 8-24.
Yeah. Three Phillies that hit home runs against Hauser. So we have JT Realmuto. He's 3-for-11 with 1 home run and 2 RBIs. Schwarber is 4-for-15, 267, but he has a home run against him. And then the other one is Bryson Stott. He's 2-for-3 with a home run and 2 RBIs. And Harper has hit 300 against him. He's 3-for-10 with a double. So hopefully our bats can truly. He used to pitch for the Milwaukee Brewers.
I wouldn't be surprised. Bohm is 1-for-11 if tonight's a night that maybe he gets the night off. 1-for-11 against Hauser. Maybe they play Dylan Moore. Maybe they play Otto Kemp. Maybe they play Edmundo Sosa at third base tonight. We'll see. The lineup probably will not be out before I get off the radio tonight.
8
So,
p.m., 8 p.m. or so.
All right, boys. What else? Final thoughts as the Phillies getting ready to play the Giants in a 3-game series at Oracle. Painter, I'm looking forward to see Painter bounce back into this second game for him, because I think all of a sudden, now that he keeps following these Walker starts, the pressure goes to him of he has to be able to perform and pitch innings. He can't just have one of those games where he just doesn't compete. Now, Walker bails you out by sticking in it for 5 innings, but now all these starts on Painter keep being a little bit more pressure that he has to pitch well coming out of the chutes. You see these young guys and how much they have meant to this team. Painter first and then Crawford.
Yeah, you need the bounce back start, right? And, Andrew Painter last Tuesday, they were on a 3-game losing streak, and he got everything turned around. Then they got on a 4-game winning streak. That's a lot to ask out of a kid making his second career start, first one on the road. I know you're pitching in a pitcher-friendly park, but that place is a house of horrors for the Phillies. Look at the Patrick Bailey home run last year. Even when the Phillies were good with Ryan Howard and Chase Utley, they had trouble winning out there. So, yeah, you're asking a lot out of Andrew Painter tonight just to kind of get that win and seal a 500 road trip, which would be, look, we would think it's not that great because they're playing Colorado and San Francisco, but really a 500 road trip is honestly very good. And if they can find some way to win the night, it's going to make the next 2 days seem less, what's the word I'm looking for?
Imperative.
Yeah, that's a better word for it.
Less imperative.
Imperative. So the Giants are the worst hitting team in baseball. They have scored only 2.6 runs per game. They're being managed by a college manager. There's a lot of question marks and a lot of pressure on this guy. They were swept by the Mets. Look, there's a lot of pressure going on there with the Giants, looking at the Giants side. So this will be a beautiful opportunity for Painter. If I give a grade to this guys, I give an A, if not an A plus, to what Painter did in the first outing, and then I give a B plus, if not an A, to Justin Crawford. I mean, these 2 kids have come and have bring a level of energy and rejuvenation to a team that needed it. And as Jeff has said a number of times, the bottom of the order has significantly delivered on this team, from Arcia to March to what we've seen of Justin Crawford. They've really done a tremendous job so far to help this team get it to the next level.
Conversely, Harrison Bader, 10 games for the Giants. He is hitting 118 with a 162 on-base percentage, a 397 OPS, 12 strikeouts in 34 at-bats for Bader. And, of course, Crawford has replaced him in center, and he has really helped the Phillies out. So a lot of people wanted Bader back, but there was some trepidation on whether or not, what we saw in those 50 games in Philadelphia was the real deal. It's early, but he has not gotten off to a good start. So
Castellanos have not gotten to a hot start either.
Yeah.
So
no.
You know what? I say this. It's early. I would have been completely fine with Bader back on a 1-year deal, but I knew for a fact 2 years they were not going there.
I agree.
Yeah,
the 1-year deal,
sense.
because you could have played Bader in center and Crawford in left and then had maybe a platoon in right field. But I don't think the Phillies wanted to platoon Garcia. I think they wanted him to play every single day and hopefully maximize his power.
Yeah.
They're getting that right now.
Yeah.
The other big question, and we brought it up in the show, in the Phillies Weekly show yesterday, is Otto Kemp. Otto Kemp is not playing enough. I mean, if you're gonna keep him in the majors, I mean, he's a guy that needs at bats.
Yeah,
that's
why I wouldn't be surprised if he plays third base tonight with Bohm 1 for 11 against Hauser. We shall see. But you're right.
And he's going to play tomorrow
because there's a lefty. Yes, that's right. All right, Phillies and Giants tonight. Phillies Fastball is back at noon tomorrow. Make sure you like and hit that repost button if you're watching out there, and make sure every day at noon you make an appointment to be here with us. The Phillies win the series in Colorado. Next stop, the House of Horrors in San Francisco. It's Andrew Painter and Adrian Hauser tonight, and we'll be back at noon tomorrow to recap it all right here on Phillies Fastball. For Oscar and Jeff, I'm Mike. Have a great rest of your day.